Hi there, my name's Mark. Thanks for joining me and learning about homeopathy. I'd just like to start off by introducing myself and to explain what I'm trying to accomplish by making these videos. So, I have a background in meditation, Ayurveda, and yoga philosophy, and I know enough about these things to know that I still have a lot to learn. And I always have been told that homeopathy is really an extension of Ayurveda, but I haven't really sat down to learn about it, even though I am interested in medicine and healing, and I have experimented with things such as diet, herbs, meditation, breathing, and relaxation practices. And I think my lack of excitement came from a similar complaint that I hear a lot about homeopathy, and that is that you'll take a remedy for a specific purpose, and it just never seems to end up working. And it's only later that I really learned why. It's because that even though a specific remedy it has hundreds of symptoms that it's known to cure, if that remedy doesn't match your specific symptoms enough, then it's not going to work. You can take as many remedies as you want, and you won't see any results. And it's true. I'm definitely guilty of using remedies and only trying to match one or two symptoms that remedy says it cures, and seeing little to no results and being very disappointed in homeopathy. But recently, I had a different experience. I was really in search of trying to cure my childhood allergies. I took daily medication every day just to suppress the symptoms. I was on allergy shots for a number of years, but none of it seemed to really work that well. And if I missed a day, things would come back. So that's when I really turned to homeopathy for a solution. And I finally started working through a trained professional, so he actually knew what he was doing. And it took a couple of years, maybe one or two, but finally we stumbled upon the remedy causticum as a solution. And I took one dose, and within 12 hours, I was 50 to 60% better. Now, considering I've been dealing with seasonal allergies since I was young, 50 60% better is like magic. And then following that, I took 3 or 4 doses before I was basically done. And now I can say I'm 90 to 95% better. And I don't have to worry about walking outside and having my eyes water or my nose turn into a faucet. So now I'm like extremely interested in learning more about homeopathy. I'd like to sit down and learn about it. And my goal is to make videos while I'm learning and share it with you guys so that we can learn together, and then hopefully we can all experience tangible results that will reinforce the validity of homeopathy. So I'd like to start off by going over one remedy per video and really systematically going through and seeing what those remedies are, what their personalities are, and what symptoms they cure. And once again, I'm not claiming to be a professional homeopath, so there's no way we're going to really cover all of the symptoms and all of the characteristics of that remedy. Um, I just really want to cover the basics so we can start introducing ourselves to these remedies. And then if you really feel that that remedy is a match for you, you yourself can go and research it further and really find out if it's appropriate. So I'd just like to start off by explaining what homeopathy is and how it works, and then we can dive into our first remedy. So homeopathy, you can break it apart into homeo and pathy. So homeo means same, and pathy, just like in pathology, means suffering. So homeopathy literally means same suffering, and I wrote that down for you on the notes here. But so the idea is that you take a physical material and you dilute it down enough until there's no physical material left, and then you take that as a homeopathic remedy and you relieve the symptoms that that material was giving you. So for example, take allium cepa, the homeopathic remedy made from the red onion. If the allium cepa is known to cure watery eyes and a drippy nose, and if you cut a red onion, you definitely know that you're going to get watery eyes and a drippy nose. And so once you dilute it down enough, you take it as a remedy and it cures the symptoms that it would give you if you ingested the physical material. And so therefore, since there's no physical material left, it's considered an energetic medicine. And therefore, it's definitely affected by emotions, and it's affected by more potent things that you eat or digest that can really affect the outcome of taking a remedy. So for example, things such as, I'll write this down, things such as very powerful mint, coffee, or Vicks Vapor Rub. If you take those, they're known to really limit the effects that you can get from taking a remedy. So I know that mint kind of stays in the system for about 12 hours. Coffee is known to stay in the system for 4 days. So if you're really looking to gain the maximum results from taking a remedy, you may want to consider limiting your usage of these things. And even 15 minutes before and after, try to avoid food. So that really there's no taste on your mouth to interfere with the really subtle energy that a homeopathic remedy is working on. So with that in mind, I'd like to start off today with the remedy called Aconite. So the official name is called Aconitum Napellus, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's made from the wolf's bane flower. It's also called monk's hood. I can pull up a picture for you here. So you can see that it's a really purple flower, and you can see where it gets the name monk's hood, for example, because it really looks like, you know, the hood someone would wear over their head. But so aconite is known for complaints that come on suddenly and with great intensity. So I'll write that down. Aconite Napellus. So complaints that come on suddenly. It's used for sudden onset of colds and stress. It's known to bring the body and mind back into balance. And it's really known for trauma or shock. So I was always told that if you're ever in a situation where you get to experience seeing someone get in a car crash, then if you can deliver a very potent dose of aconite to them, you can really help their body and mind come back into balance after experiencing that traumatic shock. And it even says here, I'm using a book by Roger Morrison, that aconite can release shock or fright that has been held in the body for a lifetime. So it further says that it's for a state of fear, anxiety, anguish of body and mind. It's the first remedy in inflammation. So I'll write that down for. It's for anxiety, shock, worry. And it also says it's primarily for acute conditions arising from shock and exposure, so that when you experience these traumas, there are certain things will come out from them. So like, it's definitely a probability that if you're in an extreme car accident, you might feel a little anxious about getting back into a car. And so aconite can really prevent that from happening. So we can go through some of the things. So your mind, some of the symptoms that you see in the patient who needs aconite is that your mind is fearful, anxious, worried. You have a great fear of death, fear airplanes, fear ghosts, bad news, heart disease, earthquakes. Your head is going to be hot, heavy. It's going to feel like it's bursting. Eyes feel dry as if there's sand in them. You're very sensitive to noises. You have very acute sensitivity to smells. And this is interesting. It says one cheek is red and the other is pale. It says your stomach, you might be prone to vomiting, heat, thirst for cold water. You have a dry, croupy cough. Your extremities might feel tingly. You might have anxious sleep. And then in general, in the evening and the night, it's worse, particularly before midnight. And lying on the affected side, it feels worse. And you're better in the open air, you're better in warmth, and you're better with rest. But it seems that aconite is really for shock and trauma, and it can be used to prevent a really sudden illness that creeps up on you. And so if you find an illness that's coming on quickly, you would take a dose of aconite to kind of try to stop it in its tracks. But if the illness further develops to the point where it's a full-blown illness, then aconite's no longer appropriate. You'd want to use another remedy that matches those symptoms. So aconite is very popular. It's very widely used. If you feel like this could be a remedy for you, then feel free to do some more research on it. And I'll see you next time for the next remedy. Thanks.